Angelina Jolie. Part 11. Narcissist? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. We now move on to considering Angelina Jolie's relationship with her children. And we start with her describing them. Shiloh looks like Brad. It's funny because she's almost going to be the outcast in the family because she's blonde and blue-eyed. I felt so much more for Mad, Zahara and Pax because they were survivors. Shiloh seemed so privileged from the moment she was born. But I'm conscious that I have to make sure I don't ignore her needs just because I think the others are more vulnerable. This is a mother talking about her children, where she describes one as being the outcast and that she feels more for her other children over that child. Undoubtedly, there are parents who will have a favourite child, but they won't necessarily admit as such, and certainly not in front of their children. They wouldn't put it in digital or print form so that their children might Google it and later learn about what their mother has said about them. But Angelina Jolie has no such concerns because she's allowed to say what she wants. This does suggest an absence of emotional empathy for the children. Jolie recently lamented her daughter and the privileged womb from when she came in the UK edition of Elle when she said, "I think I feel so much for Mad and Z because they're survivors. They came through so much. Shiloh seems so privileged from the moment she was born. I have less inclination to feel for her. I met my other kids when they were 6 months old. They came with a personality. A newborn really is this, yes, a blob. I don't ignore her needs just because I think the others are more vulnerable." She describes her own child as a blob and again talks about having less inclination to feel for her. According to Cosmopolitan, the mother of 6 went on what she called a lockdown with her children. This meant she wasn't working or taking on any new projects for a whole year. She was strictly being a mother to her 6 children. Is this a form of emotional empathy by wanting to spend so much time with them because of the divorce that she was going through with Pitt? Or is this her wanting to control them, to ensure she knows what's going on in their lives, that she monopolises their time, a common narcissistic tactic? The Jolie Pitt kids don't go to public school. Angelina Jolie also oversees everything they do. She wants them to be adhering to a specific curriculum, highly language-based, along with their standard subjects, which is why she's extra involved in their learning. Each child also has a tutor in each subject because she wants her kids to have the best education they can. Sentiments invariably shared by many parents. Is this demonstrative of emotional empathy for her children, or is it because they are extensions of herself, little mirrors, and therefore what they achieve is her achievement? Each of the Jolie Pitt children has a unique nickname. Her oldest son goes by Mad, the oldest daughter answers to Zed, and her middle daughter Shiloh goes by She. Although it may seem odd that her kids only respond to nicknames, it also keeps them close by answering to nicknames that only few people know. Is this a form of objectification? It's also the case that nobody in Angelina Jolie's household goes out with friends often because they don't necessarily have any. The family are described as very much homebound and are very much more interested in spending time at home with family than anyone else. There are very few moments in which the family goes out to see others. This seclusion of the children might be seen as, again, a form of control and an absence of emotional empathy. I'll touch on briefly part of the dispute with Brad Pitt, though more of that later. The judge ruled that Jolie had to let her children communicate with their father whenever they want to without her interfering or monitoring, because prior to that, she would not allow them to text their father, and she wanted to monitor all communication. Doubtless, she would be saying that she's doing so for their own protection, but she's not allowing them to make a choice, and it would appear again that she's interfering in their lives, showing a lack of boundary recognition and an absence of emotional empathy vis-à-vis their relationship with Brad Pitt. Jolie likes to keep the children out of the limelight, but when she has to be in public with any or all of her kids, there is one rule they have to follow. She wants her image to be flawless at all times, which means her kids have to be normal in public. That is facade management. Apparently, the kids aren't allowed to have sleepovers or play dates other than those that are arranged by Jolie. The Jolie Pitt children are protected at all times, which means they spend most of their time with their parents as siblings rather than out with other kids their age. The typical household that contains children is usually ruled by times in which the children must go to bed. Angelina Jolie is one of those parents who feels as though her children should not have a bedtime. This created a clash with Brad Pitt because he was strict about the children having bedtime when he is around. One of the couple's many fights before their divorce occurred because they could not agree on when their kids should go to bed. Again, by demonstrating that she doesn't think that they should have a bedtime, that shows a rather laissez-faire attitude to parenting and is demonstrative of an absence of emotional empathy. Another concept that Angelina and Brad Pitt did not agree on during their relationship was the issue of discipline. They had very distinct parenting ideas, and they rarely met in the middle when it came to their children. The two do not agree on how their 6 children act. Brad Pitt wanted all of the kids to have a certain amount of structure, while Angelina Jolie wanted them to have a lot more fun and do whatever they wanted. That does appear, again, to show an abrogation of responsibility and duty as a parent, and could possibly be seen as creating a lack of control environment. A friend commented that it's like they're living in a hippie commune most of the time because Angie doesn't believe in rules. Of course, that mindset is demonstrative of somebody that would find rules a shackle upon what they are doing. And Nanny further revealed that Angelina thinks it's important for the children to have freedom of expression, but that doesn't always work very well. Another nanny revealed that the kids are huge on swearing. She claimed the Jolie Pitt home is more chaotic than anyone could imagine, a place rife with fighting, 4-letter words and sibling squabbles and injuries. She went on to reveal Maddox has dropped a few F-bombs, while Zahara has been known to use merde in French, while always watching R-rated films, consuming nothing but junk food, and in Maddox's case drinking wine and driving the car around their property on certain occasions. Sounds like a fairly ill-ordered environment, and again suggests a lack of parental involvement and a parental abrogation of responsibilities and duties. With the absence of rules for the children, they pretty much do what they want. A former staff of the ex-couple's household revealed that all 6 children are allowed to run wild in the house. And if it isn't behaving properly isn't enough, apparently they can drink champagne for every meal if they choose and eat caviar for every meal if they also so choose. It seems to be a somewhat chaotic environment that Angelina Jolie fosters. That one whereby you'd have to question whether she has emotional empathy for her children, allowing them to function in such an environment. A lack of structure, a lack of organised bedtimes, allowing them to do what they want, eat what they want. Whereas, as reported earlier, she would disappear off and work out for hours at a time, leaving them to do whatever they wanted. Hardly the responsible behaviour of an adult, and one which shows an abrogation of those responsibilities and duties. We will now turn in part 12 to the charity work that Angelina Jolie has undertaken and a few of her quotations which provide us with meaning of insight into what she is. Join me in that part.